Hi, this is Alana Miller with Zen Psychiatry, and I'm doing a quick video for you on how to cope and feel better when you're just completely overwhelmed. So recently I put out a survey on my social media asking what people wanted to hear from me in the next month, and I got a lot of responses, and almost all of them were some version of how do I deal with all the stress going on in the world right now? How do I cope when I'm just completely in despair or overwhelmed with my situation? And when I hear that, I think overwhelmed because it feels like the stress of the situation is surpassing my ability to handle it. So here's tip number one, which is to remember the two mistakes we always make when we're worrying, including when the situation seems completely overwhelming. Number one is we overestimate the likelihood of bad things happening. And you may think, well, the worst case scenario seems to be happening right now. However, I would tell you that whatever you're experiencing right now, it could be worse, right? In your mind, you are imagining the end point of your fear, whereas like the story hasn't gotten that far yet, right? So we overestimate the likelihood of our worst case fears happening, and number two, we underestimate our ability to handle those worst case fears if they do happen. So I will tell you specifically with me, I've had cancer twice, and the worst case fear for me was after I had it the first time was it relapsing. And I told myself so many times, statistically that's so unlikely, it's probably less than 0.5%. All the studies say that once you're 5 years in remission, you're not going to relapse when you have acute lymphoblastic lymphoma. And here we are, I was 5.5 years after I was diagnosed the first time, and I was in remission and I relapsed. So of course I was completely devastated, but I was then making the second mistake, which is underestimating how well we can handle things. Even going through the chemo and then a stem cell transplant, I handled it pretty well. I handled it a lot better than I thought I would. So even something that was that worst case fear, once I was actually faced with the reality of it, I found a way to cope. I found a way to put one foot in front of the other, and okay, well, what do I do with my patients and with my work and my practice? Okay, get ready to anticipate this kind of treatment, get my support network in place, figure out who my doctor is, and all of that. Once I was in that horrible situation, I figured it out, and now I'm 9 months post-transplant. I'm in remission, I'm getting healthier every day, and I'm pretty happy. So tip number two for when you're completely overwhelmed is remember that the situation does not need to change for you to change how you feel about it. And in fact, the situation may not change, but you won't feel the same about it. Meaning that, let's say the bad thing happens, you're in the bad situation, over time you will figure out how to adjust your life and cope and be happy in spite of that. And I'll give you a specific example that illustrates this. Is that there was a study done on people who either won the lottery or had an injury and became quadriplegic. Okay, so one really good thing, one really bad thing. And they tracked these people's happiness levels over the next 6 months. So as you would expect, immediately after this event, the people who won the lottery became very happy. The people who became quadriplegic were pretty depressed. But most interestingly is that when they looked 6 months later, the people who won the lottery, their happiness went down to kind of near their baseline. And for people who became quadriplegic, their happiness went up back pretty close to their baseline. And what this means is that human beings are pretty resilient. We adjust. I mean, that's bad news when it comes to, if you have something really good happen, like win the lottery, you're gonna get used to it, and it's not gonna make you as happy as it did originally. But the converse of that is that when something really bad or traumatic happens, you're gonna get used to that as well. So you don't necessarily have to fix or solve the problem, you just kind of, over time, you're naturally gonna adjust. And then tip number three is just wait. Wait it out. Knowing that nothing good lasts forever and nothing bad lasts forever either. This actually was my main coping strategy when I had cancer the first time. I mean, it was 3 years of chemo. I had to stop working. I was in a 5-year relationship that ended. I lost the place I was living. I had to move back in with my parents. You know, I was 31 at this time, a doctor. It wasn't exactly my happiest moment having to move back home, and it was, I mean, horribly traumatic in terms of the physical illness aspects of it. And I really questioned if I would ever recover from that, both physically and then emotionally. And I didn't handle it, you know. I just lived, and then eventually I got better. And so when I look back on that experience, I wish I had just given myself a little bit more patience and been a little bit more patient, because I felt at the time that I had to solve it, I had to get out of it. Whereas in reality, I didn't really have to do anything. I didn't have to like handle it. I just had to wait, and it eventually ended. So that might apply to you now. Like, if all else fails, just like wait. And whatever you're doing to handle it that feels like stressful or like you're clutching onto something, just stop doing that. Like, stop handling it. You know, just put one foot in front of the other, like get through each day, and then eventually it's gonna end. So I hope these 3 tips helped. Hang in there. We're all in this together, and I will see you again soon.